All right, welcome back to a brand new video of the Target Individual Program, Target Individual Experience, Target Individual Programming. You guys hear the sirens? As soon as I exit up my apartment building again, you hear the sirens. All right, you hear that? Okay, yeah. Then they know that I'm about to expose what it is that they do. You know, they have me on the remote monitoring, and I was saying, you know, when I to remember to expose what they did this morning. All right, and so here we go. So this morning I woke up around 9 something, and you know what they're doing is again, NY Predators Department will always use their sirens. As soon as I woke up, either immediately as I open my eyes, come out of my sleep, or as I get out of bed, right? If my alarm goes off and I answer my alarm. And so woke up, went to make breakfast, ate breakfast, was watching the video, was posting a couple of stuff online, particularly, you know, when it comes to racist police departments and racist police officers. And then they started targeting me up the wazoo. You know, they started, oh, that's a nice chair. It's missing, I mean, you can replace the arm. All right, it's not bad though. You can replace the arm. Somebody should cop that. But anyhow, made breakfast, went back, like I said, to sit down in my bedroom, sit at my desk, had a couple of posts. You know, as soon as I started posting about these corrupt racist cops, you know, they started sending me death threats, right? Or they started sending me these subliminal threats about my disability and so forth. This is what they do. When you listen to Whitney Webb and Catherine Fitch talk about digital ID and what they'll be able to do to people, right, to silence people. But the precursor to digital ID is the targeted individual program, right? And we STIs, we keep saying that. The precursor to many of these control mechanisms in which they are trying to implement in the future, right, is these sort of programs, right? These are control mechanisms. These are control programs that they are trying to implement. That's their agenda. And again, because a lot of us have no idea of what's being done, how it's being done, or if they do, or if some of them do, nothing they can do about it except to try and make people aware of what is being done and what is going on. All right, so we gotta understand these things. And so particularly I was watching a video in which, this is from my brother Taylor House Publishing, and he's always posting videos of you know, black people interactions with the racist cops, right? And in this video, it talks about you know, these cops went to serve a warrant for a person that didn't show up to court, and they came with a whole SWAT team. You know, I mean, it was crazy. Like, you should see the amount of police officers just that came to serve a warrant for one man. Right, it's a black man. Well, this black man, look how many. You see how many red vehicles? There's a red vehicle right there. That was at the intersection. There's two people wearing red on the next block just standing there, right? So 1, 2, 3. But then you get onto this block. Look at all these red cars parked up here today. And they got another red car that was turning all the way down there. Look across the street here. See, a woman wearing red, right? Okay. I guess more just, you know, observation, right? And what it is that they do. But anyhow, so this dude, right, took out 4 cops. This happened in North Carolina, I think. He took out 4 cops and injured 4 more. You know, he died eventually. You know, he died because he came out with his guns blazing. He's like, "You guys not going to take me alive." You know what I'm saying? And the Taylor House Publishing, the content creator, he was like, imagine that. Imagine, when they come to serve warrant for white felons, right? They don't bring that much police. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're like raiding a compound of, like you would think that these people are raiding damn El Chapo. You know what I'm saying? And of course the noise. Right? They gotta do the noise, right? Why? Because, she was standing there, she came down, look at her, wearing black pants, black sweater, black hat. Color black again, right? This is what they do. Look at she looking over there at the gray vehicle. Let's see, she look at the other one that's right there also. All right? So I started this. I'm saying out loud because I know they're listening and they have me on the remote monitoring. So I started saying out loud. I said, damn. I said, when I look at videos like that, it's kind of hard for me to feel any sort of sympathy, for these cops, particularly when I was just posting about, police department, entire police department. Look. So as look, see the lights flicker? Why? Because it's 666, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, 6 protons. You see what I'm saying? They're religious BS. They're religious bullshit. And the New York Predators Dept using the sirens. All right, now look, in the color red. Anyhow, and particularly when I was just posting about how, entire police departments were shut down because of racist cops, right? Entire police officers being suspended because they are on these chat sites, engaging in racist behavior. Let me see, is he going to let me on the bus? Let me see if he's going to do it. Probably not. I don't expect him to. But okay. All right. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Hold on tight. Always use handrails when boarding, exiting, and standing. Find your seat. If possible, stay standing. If standing, stay behind the white line and hold on to poles or straps. Never rush to exit while the buses are motion. Your cooperation helps prevent injuries and keeps New York City moving. Thank you for riding with the MTA.
Thank you. Have a good day. Appreciate it. See, New York Predators Department. Look at it. I keep telling you. You know, the reason why they're there, again, is because of what I was saying. You know, posting about the New York Predator Department and its predator officers, racist officers, right? And the fact that these racists who have been caught on chat messages and text messages speaking disparagingly against black people and hunting black people, that instead of firing them, they're suspending, right? Instead of removing them from the force, they suspend them. On top of that, you know, they have, you know, black police officers and other groups of people who they disparage negatively have to see these people every single day, have to work with them. You know, have to, you know, in their mind, that if they were in the situation of danger, would these white racist police officers allow them, you know, to be, allow them to be put in harm's way or put them in harm's way? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are in. I guess I gotta wait for the other buses. Now, how do you like that, right? I think this is the first day in months that I've seen that there's really no one waiting for the bus. Right? At least, very few people waiting for the bus. Right? That is something, man. A few people waiting for the, look. Now, when have you guys ever seen this? Huh? I'll tell you what, I don't think I've ever seen that. Right? Anyway, today is a pretty warm day. I almost forgot what I was saying. So yeah, the reason why the New York Predator Department showed up is again because, like I said, I should have shared I'm not sure if I shared the video or not, but I should have shared the video. Like I said, these people, for example, in New Jersey, where you have a town in which the mayor of the town and this police force, have a creed, which was to keep black people out of their town. Okay, this mayor said it. It's and the police chief all in agreement. So like I said, black people, we're gonna have to wake up to our reality. And I also said that these racist cops, that whenever you have and the racist police department, particularly New York Predator Department, when you have good cops who come out and expose what it is that they do and the discriminatory practices, particularly you have the they used to be stopping, well, there still is stop and frisk, now there's drive and frisk, in which 95% of the motor vehicle drivers who are stopped and ticketed by the New York Predator Department and its predatory officers are black, right? Black and Hispanic people, right? That's 95%, okay? And I talked about how, good cops, when good cops do the right thing, how their whole lives are upended, right? Their lives are destroyed, they're being labeled as being mentally ill and troublemakers and so forth and so forth. So the defense, the New York racist Predator Department, the internal defense mechanism is to do what? Attack anybody within the department who's telling the truth, right? Because ultimately the vast majority of them are liars, manipulators, and deceivers, right? And they don't promote the good cops, understand that. They don't promote the good officers. They promote the corrupt ones, right? And that's a fact. I'm not just, that is a fact. So again, I deal with facts. These people deal with lies, manipulation, and deception, okay? And it's something that we must understand. We have to understand. All right, also, if I forget too, the use of, again, silent sound to manipulate, others. For example, again, waking up this morning not only to the sound of the New York Predator Department, but also to, the manipulation of other people, right? So, again, Alda started texting me immediately afterwards, been texting me all morning, and so forth. And then also that, my sister, when I was going into the kitchen to wash, I think was it to wash dishes or maybe to make breakfast, actually. She says to me, did you call to find out if Alyssa went to school today? Yeah, and I'm like, I've been telling you that when the kids are missing school because of their mother for how many years now? And this morning is the morning you want to ask me about if I called to see if Alyssa, the kids went to school. Now, I have not done that in so long because I know it makes no difference. Look. Look at the color. Look at the red color. Look. See the tag team? 1, 2, 3. See the tag team? Right? And the reason why I turned because I saw the red vehicle and, blowing his horn. And so, that's how they get your attention. Right? But again, I know why they do that, using family members to send, these subliminal threats against my children and so forth, right? So this is what they do, and like I said, it doesn't matter what they try to do. I'll expose it because I know all of their tactics and all their methods. All right? So they're never going to, be able to do what it is that they do, and I won't be able to expose what it is that they do. Right? Because when you know, you know. Right? When you understand their tactics, their methods, right? How they do it, their psychological warfare, their cognitive warfare, their covert warfare. You know, again, observation, experience, research is one of the things that you do as a TI to not only acquire the knowledge of what it is that they're doing and how they're doing it, right? But also so that you will have insight and foresight, so that you are able to also predict what it is that they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And when they do things, you're not surprised by it, but you have an understanding, and so you're able to expose what it is that they do because you have an understanding, right? So yeah, you know what I'm saying? So they're not getting rid of none. So the white guy and her, I love this. Yeah, these are, like I keep saying, they're used. You ever notice that they don't ever use these gorgeous women, black women, to target me, but it's always the ones who are like, they have like, you know, they're like average, right? So in terms of attractiveness, right? So they're average, and if once in a while they do use gorgeous black women or very attractive black women, it is very rarely. Why? Because these women have lives. You know, they have lives. You know, they have boyfriends or whoever, or husbands or what have you. But it's I keep telling you how they manipulate our women emotions, right? So now, you know, you look at overall in whatever society you're in, the vast majority of the people, men and women, are average looking. Okay? Just like you have very few men who are tall, very few women who are tall, very few men who are high earners or high value men, but the vast majority of people are average. But what happens when they manipulate a woman to even the average woman think that they are 10? You know what I'm saying? That is something that, again, it is psychological conditioning. Right? So you have average women acting as if they are 10. You have overweight women telling each other that they are 10 and they are bad bitches. Right? So where do you think that comes from? You know what I'm saying? Where do you think that comes from, right? Let me ask the bus driver. You mind if I ask you a question? Yeah. All right, it has nothing to do with the transit, right? But it's the conditioning of our people, particularly our women, right? Is that they fail to understand that the vast majority of people within a society are average, right? Meaning that, you know, people work a regular job, 9 to 5, and happy, right? But the majority of our women somehow believe that they don't deserve average, right? That they deserve high earners and high value men, right? This is women in particular, right? So when you see women out there who they're overweight, they may not have the type of body shape that, you know, most men would consider to be attractive, saying that they're 10s and they're bad bitches, right? You know, and they're boss bitches. What does that say to you as a black man?
The only thing, man,
Huh?
I save everyone.
The what?
I give this service to everyone, whoever
Right.
it is. I don't care, like white to black.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about is the conditioning of the minds of our women, right?
Condition?
Yeah, the mental condition that makes them believe that they are a 10, right, and that they deserve men who make, you know, over 100,000, 200,000 or not. So even the very average amongst our women, right, including those who are overweight or obese, they all believe that that's what they deserve. So they don't deserve a man who working like in your job as a bus driver, right? They say you got to own the bus company, right? Now, again, I'm talking about average women. When I say average, meaning in terms of attractiveness, right? Not in terms of you know, their intelligence or anything like that, but in terms of their attractiveness, right?
Right.
So for example, you will see big women wearing the most skimpiest outfit, right? And it is promoted. And women telling them, "Oh, you look gorgeous," right? Instead of correcting them and say, "Look, you look terrible. You are too big to be wearing this," right? But they won't do it, right? So why do you think that is?
We don't want to feel like put them in the West themselves,
Right. You see, this is, they want us to hold each other accountable. They say, well, the men got to be held accountable. But what they don't understand is that as black men, we are held accountable whether we do the crime or not. Right? Yeah, right? Okay. Now, for women, this is why you see they'll say, well, it's always the black man's fault. Because they've adapted the mindset that in which the white supremacists have put into their mind that they don't need to be held accountable as long as they can throw their men under the bus. You understand? And it's promoted, right? It's promoted. Because when you look at the lies that's being told to our women, is to emotionally manipulate them. You understand? So, for example, they'll say, black men abuse black women, right? You hear that all the time, right? But here's the truth. Here's the truth. Again, and you as a black man should know this, right? That the vast majority of the people, right, who engage in the initiative of violence against the other person are the women. And that's in all groups, right? But particularly in America, it is the black man who is put in this false light that he is the abuser. You understand? So what our women don't quite understand is that both black men and black women are victims of white supremacists and continued white oppression. But what white people do, because again, they don't want to be held accountable for their crimes against us. So they transfer that mindset into our women. You understand? That's why a lot of black women believe that they are the new slave masters for black men. Our women are the only group of women in America that believe that they control the men in their group. You understand? 99%. Yeah, you can't argue with that because we see it, right? We see it. Okay? And then they want to talk about the few black men who are dating other races, not other races, but other ethnic group of women because those men want women who are feminine. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that they're not attracted to black women, they're just attracted to the negative mindset that have been conditioned into our women. And our women don't understand what's being done because they are so caught up in the material things, in what they push, right? And to where they become like men. So when you see women walking on the street, some gorgeous black women looking on the street, and they calling each other nigger, or they calling each other bro, you know what I'm saying? And their mannerism is not feminine, it's masculine, right? So what I try to do I try to tell our women is that they have to become conscious, right? Because that is the only way you're going to be able to see what's being done to you and your people, is that if you become conscious. And the only way to do that is to understand the mindset of the white supremacists, how they use people against us, how they use the Asians to take away affirmative action, right? On which they don't tell you that affirmative action benefited white women 85% of the time, right? It's like the DEI, right? So they think that DEI benefit black people, particularly black women. But no, DEI benefit white women, again. So they are using other groups of people to dismantle the civil rights that black people fought for, right? Knowing that it was white women that benefited the most from these things. Because their position is that black people in America should have nothing. You understand? It is why the churches take from us. It is why the churches don't do anything within our community, anything substantial. It is why these pastors will brag about their Benz and their mansions and telling their congregation to humble themselves, right? So you have to understand psychological conditioning on a deeper level than what we grew up learning about. We grew up learning about reverse psychology, right? But we don't grow up learning about the tactics and methods that is used within psychology to manipulate our people, right? the reward and punishment. So you know, and when it comes to our people, it is backwards. They reward negative behavior and they punish good behavior. You understand? Whereas any other group, they reward good behavior and punish bad behavior. You understand? Right? So it is within our people and within our communities, it is backwards.
Thank you.
Right? It is backwards. They have to give us a backwards mindset, and so that we don't unite, so that we don't see what it is that they do. When you look at these black millionaires and billionaires, right? The idea of being socially responsible for their people within their group is non-existent. But when you look at every other group, the billionaires, when you look at these white billionaires who go into these universities, these colleges, and get young people like Mark Zuckerberg, all these other groups, and they invest in them. Why don't black billionaires and millionaires do that? You understand? Because that idea is not something that we are consciously thinking about, right?
We have a lot of millionaires black.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You know, so we have to really look at things on a more deeper level, and those of us who do are being attacked. But it's always been that way, right? From Martin Luther King, actually let's go back to Marcus Garvey, right? And Marcus Garvey understanding and saying black people should be of a high scientific mind, and they use other black people to bring Garvey down, right? Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, right? The Minister Louis Farrakhan, right? Dr. Khalid Muhammad, and all of the black scholars that try to tell black people how we should move together. So what they do is that they eliminate black leaders. So today we don't have any black leaders, even within the churches. Who in the churches you would call a black leader, right? Because for me, a leader is someone that loves their people, that want to care about the people, and to educate their people, and to build things in which their people can advance within the society. And there's no black leader that is doing that today, right? And particularly when you destroy the mindset of the woman, you destroy the nation. That's how important our women is, but they don't understand that. All right, good talk.
Have the guy over there, have the guy. So many of them say,
All right, so, you know, I mean, you got to think about what I just said, right? Because it's true. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the most effective way to destroy a nation of people is to destroy the minds of their women. Is to separate and break up the black family. You understand? I watched a video, right, in which you had in Long Island, you had over 6,000 black people applied to become police officers, right? And they only hire 60 of them. And the reason why the police chief said that the reason why they're not hiring, they couldn't hire more, is because they say that the majority of the people that apply to become the police officers are raised in single mother's household. Right? That's what the police chief said. The commissioner of Long Island. He said that the reason why is because the majority of applicants who are black are raised in single mother's household, and that disqualifies them. Right? So why do they have a woman promoting this concept of, you don't need to have a nuclear family, right? The mother, the father, and the child. But it's okay to have a single family where it's just the mother and the children. See, they understand the importance of having a father in the house, and they've conditioned a woman to see that as being not important. But when their children grow up, So when their children grow up not emotionally well balanced, not disciplined, no structure, right? They don't get hired in certain jobs. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? So the liberal media pushes the agenda that it's okay for our women to raise children in the house by themselves while promoting family structure within white people, within white society. You understand? Right? But yet, why is it that we can't see that? You know? Well, they're saying it out loud. They're not hiding it. And the reason why is because they know no matter what those of us who understand what's going on are trying to tell our people, they're not going to listen because the psychological conditioning is so deep, the brainwashing is so deep, right? That the very few of us will never be able to wake up the minds of our people.
Fire department, you know?
Huh?
For fire department.
Where he?
For fire.
Right.
Fire department.
Fire department the same way too? They're racist. Do you know that black firefighters had to take the fire department to court? Did you know that? On many occasions, not just one occasion, on many occasions. Okay? You see, what they try to do, they're great at PR stunts, meaning that they're great at doing, at hiding the truth from you and I, right? To give you this false impression of who they are. New York City is one of the most racist states in America. See, you don't see it, right? But if you look at the policy, right, the New York school educational system is the most segregated in the nation. You know, you would think that would be Alabama, you know, Mississippi, you know, these places, right? But no, it's New York City. When it comes to redlining, meaning that when it comes to putting black people in neighborhoods that values decline because of the lack of resources, New York City and Chicago is up there with the worst of them, right? See, what the liberals have done in New York City is program us in a certain way that we don't see our reality, our true reality, right? You as a bus driver, right? How many black head of the MTA are they? Right? I'm talking about in the upper management positions. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, you know, we tend to not think of those things because of the condition that they have us in. We are too busy trying to earn a living, surviving. But you see, when you are a people who are living, there's time to do the things that can make your people advance. When you are surviving, you don't have that time. You understand? Okay? So they do things on many levels that we just don't understand. All right? All right. Have a good day. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Now, I always got to educate, you know, some of our people. You know, when we talked about the fire department, he was shocked to find out that there were black firefighters who had to sue the fire department for promotion. Got him, right? They had to sue the fire department for promotions. They had to sue the department to change their racist hiring practices, right? You know, and then here's the thing too, is that, you know, you got nigger parents who will get into those positions, okay, and because they get in, they think that they're better. That's what they think that they're better, right? Not understanding that it's a conditioning mindset. Because you see, when white people get into certain positions, they help other white people get into those positions, right? We know about how these white firefighters and these white police officers, how they teach young white people to pass the exam. We know that. We know that they give them the answers to these exams, right? But when Negropeans get into those positions, they're all about themselves. They're not about bringing other black people along because they want to be the ones who look like the head Negro in charge, right? Oh, you know, I'm fortunate. You know, it's like, oh, I just bought this house in this white community, you know, right? Meanwhile, their children are being traumatized in school, right? And they're telling their children, oh, just deal with it, you know? because that's what we do. That's how we are conditioned. We are conditioned to ignore the reality because, you know, we think being around white people is a benefit for us. It isn't. It isn't. Not with the mindset that they have today and continue to have. All right? We got to understand that. There are very few white people who truly, really respect and care about black people. They are, and that's the truth. When they can cause division in our community, when they can condition us however they want to, when they can lie to cover up their crimes against us, when they can ignore their crimes against us, when they can get us to blame each other for their crimes against us, it is something that we gotta really think about and understand, right? Like I said, they promote certain things in our community that they don't in their community and within their group. And we have yet to understand that. But I'll advise you, I'm gonna see if I can do a video on that where you had the Long Island Police Commissioner saying what he said, right? But yet they will have our women believing that, oh, it's okay to, you know, to be a single mother, raising children by yourself while they're working all the damn time. And, you know, when you have children with no adult supervision, and then you want to blame them as an adult or as children for not knowing certain things, right? You got to ask yourself why. Why? Right? Why is that? Right? Why they promote the hate against black men by our women, that they don't need us, right? They don't need us, okay? But yet in the white community and other communities, they don't do the same thing. And I've never heard a white woman say that they don't need a man. Asian women say they don't need a man. You know, the only Hispanic women out here don't need a man is those is like Cardi B, those rap stars, right? Those, you know what I'm saying, are in the strip clubs, right? Those are the only other group of women. But that's it. But in terms of within the society, you know, regular, average women of other groups, oh, sorry, they don't say those things. They don't say those things. And I tell the bus driver, I said, you know, the psychological condition within the minds of a woman is to do one thing, and it is to destroy the black nation, right? And they can't understand it, they can't see it. So until they have some level of consciousness of what is going on, and until they understand the truth, right, which is going to be a very hard thing to do because they understand female nature. They understand how they condition our women. And we are dealing with people who are very powerful, who are expert in all fields or have experts in all fields, and they manipulate us in ways that we cannot see. All right? Talk to you guys in the next video. Oh, look, why they took the flower out of there? Okay, so I got to go over here. Right? I'll tell you, these motherfuckers are slick. So, hear the sirens? I like, you know, walk over here. Yeah, I like the plants, the greens. You know, the greens are, I talk about how they use the color green, right? How they would have people come in front of me and count a whole stack of cash and then put their hands over their mouth, right? But I keep speaking, and that's why I always go to the greens, right? Because when you understand the truth and you speak the truth, it doesn't matter what they do or what they say, right? That they think that success comes with money. Success don't only come in the form of money or wealth as they claim, but success comes within the mind and being able to look at the society. And I keep saying, you know, people talk about, particularly these Negropean Christians, about Jesus and his disciples, but they were not wealthy people. And what they've done is that they got you worshiping the wealthy while ignoring the people who may not have money, who's trying to tell you the truth, right? Think about that. Contemplate on that, okay? Because, you know, even Jesus will tell you, right? What did he say? That a wealthy man has the chance of getting to heaven as a thread going through the eye of a needle. But we worship the wealthy and we discard the poor, right? There you go. Talk to you guys in the next video.